As we move to 2023, 2022 leaves behind major upheavals worldwide. While the Russia Ukraine war has killed tens of thousands and affected people worldwide, there were other major happenings in countries like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, the United Kingdom, China, etc. So, here are the most important global events of the year 2022. On February 24, 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine in what Putin believed would have been a short war. However, after the initial setbacks, Ukraine has fought back hard with massive supply of materials from NATO countries. The war has resulted in tens of thousands of deaths on both sides. Russian invasion led to a major refugee crisis in East Europe. It also disrupted the global supply chain, causing inflation and food crisis worldwide. As Putin has been shunned by the West, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky became a hero. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan had to resign as he lost a no confidence motion in parliament brought by the opposition parties in April. The opposition parties were strengthened by defections from the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf coalition. With this, Khan became the first sitting prime minister in the history of Pakistan to be removed from office through a no confidence motion. Also, Pakistan's dubious record of no prime minister being able to complete their tenure continues. As Shehbaz Sharif became the prime minister of Pakistan with the support of Pakistan People's Party, Imran Khan launched an agitation demanding early elections, but it seems that the parliamentary elections will be held on time. 2022 was a dramatic year for the United Kingdom. The country's longest serving monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, passed away on September 8. The country also saw political instability with three prime ministers in a year. Former PM Boris Johnson resigned on July 7 following a series of scandals. Liz Truss won the race for new Conservative leader after a fierce leadership battle with Indian origin MP Rishi Sunak. She became the Prime Minister of Britain on September 6 but had to quit just 45 days later after her economic measures backfired massively. Truss resigned on October 20 and Rishi Sunak won the Conservative Party leadership race unopposed. He was sworn in on October 25 when King Charles III invited him to form a government. The Iranian regime is facing what is being called the most serious crisis since coming to power in 1979. The anti-hijab protests have united Iranians cutting across social, gender, and ethnic lines. The women in Iran cut their hair in protest to send out a message to the rulers. It all began on September 16 after Masa Amini, a 22-year-old woman, was arrested for not wearing a hijab and died in police custody. The Islamic Republic has labeled the protests as riots. About 500 people have died in the past 3 months in crackdown by security forces on protesters. Chinese President Xi Jinping solidified his position as the most powerful Chinese dictator since Mao Zedong. He was re elected for the third term as the General Secretary of the Communist Party of China and, by default, the President of the country. He may continue as General Secretary of CPC and President of China for life. His emergence is viewed with unease and concern in China and the world as China may become a one leader state gradually from the one party state. There is a fear that with Jinping's rise, China's hostilities with countries in the South China Sea and Asia Pacific region, including India, may increase. This year, Sri Lanka was hit by the worst economic crisis since its independence in 1948. The economic conditions started growing difficult in mid 2021 and worsened in 2022. Sri Lankans faced difficulties after fuel and cooking gas became increasingly expensive and were mostly unavailable as the country had no money to import even essential items. The situation was such that schools were shut, basic food items had gone out of reach of the common man, and long power cuts had become the norm. Even life saving medicines were nearly out of stock. As things went out of hands, protests began against President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Finally, on July 9, protesters stormed Rajapaksa's home, forcing him to flee the country before resigning. Ranil Wickremesinghe became the new president and he is still in the process of setting things right. Times Online Report.